Alright, Nathan, do you have a copy of Jaws I could borrow? I've kind of been having a hankering to watch it.
I have a copy of Alligator.
Well, that's not really the same thing, is it?
Pretty sure it is.
Oh no, we're talking about trash, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Alright, look, today we're talking about Alligator from 1980, and I haven't researched this, but I'm sure this isn't the only movie called Alligator out there. I mean, it's definitely not the only movie featuring an alligator in a horror film, hey, Nate?
No. Or an alligator / crocodile / iguana / whatever reptile they have a shot of in water.
Yeah. Oh man, so many of these films use stock footage of just whatever they have.
This is a lizard.
And I mean, like, look, fundamentally, from our perspective, there's no difference between a crocodile and an alligator when talking about these movies. Like, I'm sure there's, like, a biologist out there getting really mad right now going, oh, no, there's this difference and this difference, but they're just a big lizard in this context, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not Godzilla, but it's a big lizard.
On the scale, it's not a tiny lizard. It's not Godzilla. It's smack bang in the middle somewhere there in the horror movie crocodile alligator kind of continuum. But I mean, there are, like, I mean, there's a lot of bad alligator crocodile monster movies, but there are some good ones in that mix. I mean, I'm pretty partial to Rogue, the Australian film.
Yeah, Rogue was pretty cool. The first, Lake Placid. Less said about the sequels, the better.
That's the thing with these movies, is they're either going to be pretty good or they're going to be absolutely terrible. and like bottom of the barrel CG terrible.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing that helps this movie is it was before the CG terrible alligators and crocodiles. They actually had to get like a real alligator. I mean, it's on a little set and it looks cute, but it's still a real alligator.
The cutest. Like, I know it's not like the baby alligator they show early on, but every time they tried to make it look big, I was just like, oh, isn't that adorable? Like, they're trying. And look, that's all. Look, in the kind of movies we review, that's all we can ask. Look, I will say, this movie, when I first turned it on, I wasn't sold straight away, but it does not mess around. Like, it literally starts with a gator attack.
Yeah, it starts off with a family watching like an alligator show, and a guy gets attacked by the alligator, and he's getting mauled.
Well, if you listen to all the background audio over the speakers, they're like, stay calm, people. Everything is under control. Yeah. Like, a man is being death rolled by an alligator here.
There's two other guys beating it with sticks and stuff.
Hey, whoa, easy. We should wait a second or so. Hey, guys, come on. Oh, well.
And then the natural reaction from that is like, let's go get her one of these as a pet.
Yeah. I was like, why would the parents agree to that?
The random thing is, she gets the alligator and whatnot, but then it just cuts to a scene of the dad, like, drunkenly yelling, and then he just chucks the alligator in the toilet.
No, Bill. We'll give him a bury, let's see.
Why did he throw the alligator in the toilet? And then it's like, that doesn't matter. Moving on.
Oh, look, we both know the only reason it happens is so that we can get that alligator down into the sewer so it can grow big and attack people. But I like to imagine what the movie would be like if that alligator had actually gotten caught in the pipes. That'd be very, very different.
I'll bet you want a piece of me. Well, you ain't gonna get it.
I guess we kind of need to talk about how the alligator gets so big, hey? Essentially, there's a genetic testing lab in town that's been giving animals an experimental steroid to make them really big, which we see a bit later with a cow in the lab.
The scientist is like, oh, yeah, no, they got really bad appetite when we made them huge. Of course they did.
They're big.
I thought you were a scientist.
Yeah, it's like you got to accelerate their growth. They're going to have to eat.
The most important part about putting size on is you got to eat big to get big.
But yeah, it's pretty obvious what's happening here. Somehow our alligator is going to ingest this drug, get big, and get very, very hungry. But how does it happen? Well, there's a local pet shop owner selling stray dogs to the lab to test on.
I'm gonna need a lot more of those for this experiment.
How about some cats? I got plenty of cats.
Puppies.
Then the genetics lab is like, oh, okay, now get rid of the dog. So then he just goes and throws them in the sewer.
The same sewer that baby alligator ended up in. And of course, it's been eating these dogs with the drug in them and growing. Now, I don't know if the science adds up, but whatever.
Reason to make the alligator big.
But at least the pet shop owner gets what he deserves and is eaten. What happens to him, Nathan?
For some reason, crawls down into the sewer himself.
I mean, we both know the reason, really. They're just trying to add some kills to this movie to fluff out the runtime. But honestly, the only thing worth noting about this character is his Dennis Nedry from Jurassic Park Hawaiian shirts he seems to wear in every scene. But other than that, no one's going to mourn this dog-killing character when he dies.
See, nobody cares.
It's pretty obvious what happens next if you watch a lot of these kinds of movies. The alligator, of course, is attacking people and eating them, so we then get the introduction of my favourite type of B-movie character, the grizzled homicide detective.
Oh man, I was gonna say alligator. The catchphrase on this case should be a detective's fight against male pattern baldness. Also, there's an alligator.
Oh man, it's like the most recurrent theme in this movie. It killed me every time they brought it up. It's all played so straight.
What are you looking at?
The patch on the back, the thinning of the front, you know what I mean? Same thing, you know?
Yeah.
Apparently, the scriptwriter heard Robert Forster, the actor playing the cop, joke about his own hair and thought, oh, that's pretty funny, and actually added it into the movie.
Oh, like he's literally sits there and he's like lying in bed with the chick. And he's like, yeah, I've got male pattern baldness, all right? Gosh, I know.
That wasn't scripted. That was actually Robert Forster. He was getting real mad.
Just yelling at people. People are like moving the lighting for his head because there's too much skull showing through.
Coming and putting like pancake makeup on the top.
It's good that he's a good character and a good actor because he's carrying this movie.
The whole plot's built around him investigating these missing people and slowly realizing, holy crap, there's a massive alligator under the city.
Well, it's not even slowly realizing. It eats that other cop that he goes down into the sewer with the first time.
That's true. I will say, that's one thing about this movie is they don't really play up the is it or isn't it a giant alligator.
They're like just running and just eats him. He's like, oh, okay, I guess that's down there. And then he's trying to convince everyone else, like, no, there isn't. It's like, he literally saw it eat his partner. Why doesn't anyone believe him?
For a long time, I was like, okay, this entire movie is going to be him trying to convince the other police officers that there's an alligator down below. You know, that'll be the movie, and then the finale will be when he kind of proves it. Nah. The chief, who is, by the way, another one of my favorite cliches, the angry police chief.
With the most awesome eyebrows ever.
Oh, that's my note here, is just eyebrows with an exclamation mark. I think they deserved a separate credit in the end. Look, he actually gets convinced. He actually gets convinced by Robert Forster's detective character. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. What are they going to do now? They send the SWAT in to the sewer. It's so good.
Yeah, well, they try and capture it in the sewers by walking around, you know, banging pan lids, making a lot of noise.
Flush it out to a whole bunch of SWAT, like ready there to shoot it. And I was kind of thinking, like, this has to be pretty much every cop in that town, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably say so. It is America, but so I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I mean, even with all that backup, though, I know what you and I would be doing in that situation if we were cops paired together.
Oh, hell, shit, no.
It's a North American alligator, man.
Shit. Okay, what do we do? Hell, let's just...
Yeah, we should just go.
Just go.
Just let nature take its course.
But what happens, Nathan, when they try to flush it out and they can't?
Well, then the alligator just goes, oh, I'll help you guys, and just busts up through the road, just smashes up through in one of the best miniature shots ever.
This is the thing I'm talking about right here. I've told you guys this before. Absolute perfection.
Nathan, I frankly couldn't believe it. I cheered. I know that's so sad because I thought this whole movie was going to be, oh yeah, it'll just be in the sewers because they can keep it to a little set. It'll never come out to the surface. And it's like not even really halfway through the movie and it's already on the surface. I'm like, yep, perfect.
It's already on the surface and then they call in a hunter who literally shows up in like a safari suit. And it's like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, that hunter who has a lot of respect for women from what we can tell.
He's the biggest douche.
Who is this pretty girl?
Oh, Colonel Brock, this is Dr. Kendall.
Well, now you can go back to your books.
The introduction of this hunter is really interesting to me because we also get the introduction of a expert, like a crocodile, alligator, reptile expert.
Yeah.
Who, in a great turn of events, is actually the little girl from the start of the movie.
No, I had one once when I was little. An alligator.
I just monitored your call.
My father found it dead one day, though, so I didn't get to keep it very long.
But the thing about these, like, three characters that we get of the cop, the researcher, and the grizzled expert, does that feel a little familiar to you at all, Nathan?
Oh, yeah, a little bit. I mean, they're not on a boat.
No, I was about to say, because, you know, it's not like, you know, Brody, Quint, and all that from Jaws.
Oh, yeah, no, this movie is land Jaws with an alligator. But it's funny because the way it's shot is it's so fast-paced compared to Jaws. They throw in a lot of extra, like, little kills and stuff.
It's like a 3-hour movie condensed in an hour and a half.
But they couldn't think of anything to do with the hunter, so he just, the first time he sees the alligator, he gets killed because he sucks. And they're like, yeah, moving on.
See, nobody cares.
It's interesting you bring up how fast-paced this movie is, because it definitely means it's open to include more destruction. And we do get a lot of destruction, particularly in a glorious scene where the alligator attacks a wedding being held by the drug company president.
The wedding scene is amazing. Like, that's what Jaws was missing, was a massacre on a beach.
It's literally just the alligator killing, like, countless people, crushing cars.
I love it when he's smacking people with the tail, and then it cuts to the cake, and you're like, someone's flying through that cake, and it just smashes through it.
Pretty much at this point of the movie, it's just pure chaos. Like, we've got military boats shooting up everything. They're throwing grenades to blow up the lakes. Like, when it first busts out of the sewer, it somehow makes a cop car crash.
Yeah, and it explodes. You're just like, what?
Anytime it interacts with a vehicle, the vehicle explodes for some reason.
But the funny thing is, it's a huge alligator, and no one seems to be able to find it. They got the helicopter flying around looking in pools for it, and then it's like, in a pool, but there's a ball floating above it, so they don't see it. Like, no, that's not it.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. You kind of have to suspend your disbelief a little to get in on the fun of the movie. It's the same with the fact that people don't just open fire on the alligator when they have the chance. Like, when that first cop was killed in the street, I kept shouting the same thing, possibly inspired by that bloody pet shop owner's shirt.
Shoot her! Shoot!
But yeah, that's the movie pretty much. We do get an explosive finale that's set up a little earlier in the film when a crazy man reckons he's going to bomb the police station.
I'm wired to explode. You two. Don't move. Your time is running out.
Because the cops confiscate his timer, and eventually when our main cop is told to turn in his badge and gun, he decides to go out on his own.
He goes, fine, walks to the evidence room, grabs the dynamite and the timer off of the shelf, just like the IKEA cabinets.
Yeah, just unsecured dynamite kept readily available. It makes no sense, but at least it sets up the finale, because our cop takes this homemade bomb down into the sewers to blow up the alligator. But it's not so simple, is it?
The tense part of that final scene is the scientist trying to get an old lady to move her car so he can get out of the manhole before it explodes. You're like, lady, move. Like, this is way more intense than it needs to be.
I was so impressed that they actually had like a bit of tension. There was some like creative editing going on to like ramp up the tension. I was like, wow, this is actually a movie. I don't normally expect that when we review something.
Yeah, you think he'd just be like, oh, there it is. He throws the thing, says some one-liner like, you know, your luggage, and it blows up or whatever. And you go, okay, done. But he's actually like, oh my God, get the freaking car off the manhole cover. I'm going to die.
Luckily, they do kill it, Nathan, and that's the end. Or is it?
That's right. No more Alligator 2, the new mutation.
Somehow, Alligator returned.
Let's be honest here, Alligator 2 kinda sucks. Like, it's pretty low effort compared to the first.
It literally has shots from the first movie in it too, of it walking through the sewers and stuff. It's taken from the first movie. I'm like, oh, come on, guys.
Look, it's kind of apt they're reusing footage from the first movie, because even though this is listed as a sequel, it's essentially a remake or reimagining of the first film, just with worse characters and worse pacing.
If you're going to watch the second one, you fast forward to the carnival scene. It's not as good as a wedding scene, but there is a carnival scene where the alligator attacks people. But the thing with the second one is it's bulletproof for some reason until the guy stabs it with a chemical thing that makes its skin softer.
Of course, yeah. I mean, that the science adds up.
Yeah, and then they shoot it with a bazooka anyway, not a bullet, and blow it up. I'm like, just shoot it with a bazooka at the start. You wouldn't have had to made its skin softer.
See, nobody cares.
So, Chris, would you recommend Alligator?
You know what, Nathan? This movie rules. This is a really good movie. I can't believe I hadn't seen it earlier. Like, I mean, it's not a good movie, but it's a really well-made, fast-paced B film. Would you recommend it, Nathan?
Oh, definitely, I'd recommend it. Like you said, it's fast-paced B film. But that's the thing, it's actually entertaining the whole way through, and I think it's because it doesn't have dodgy, cheap-looking CGI.
Oh yeah, that's the thing, hey. Like, you can really see how much effort they put into this movie, and even though the sequel isn't great, you can still see they tried with some of the animatronics, the stunts, all that kind of stuff that at least makes it better than the straight-to-DVD CG monster movies they release now. It still doesn't live up to the original Alligator though, hey?
Yeah, it'd be like trying to make a sequel to Jaws.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but Nathan, is this the time we reveal your deep, dark secret? That Jaws 3 is your favourite Jaws?
Oh, man, talk about movies with great special effects. I love Jaws 3.
I'm glad there's one of you out there.